Lin Shi and I had been engaged for 3 years when she suddenly announced she wanted to complete her deceased first love's bucket list. First item, accompany him to the seaside to watch the sunrise. Second item, wear a wedding dress and take photos with him. Third item, wait for him at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau for a day. I asked her, then what does that make me? Lin, she retorted righteously, you are my fiancé. He is my regret. There's no conflict. Besides, he's been dead for 3 years. Why would you argue with a dead person? I looked at her and suddenly laughed. Lin Shi, let's break up. She froze. Are you insane? I shook my head. I just suddenly figured it out. The living shouldn't make way for the dead. When Lin Shi returned with that yellowed piece of paper, her eyes were red. Aja, I found a bucket list Lu Jing wrote before he died. Her voice was choked with sobs. These were his last wishes. I want to help him fulfill them. I was in the kitchen cooking. Hearing this, my hands paused for a moment. Lu Jing, Lin Shi's high school classmate, died in a car accident 3 years ago. In Lin Shi's descriptions, he was a gentle and considerate top student, the most beautiful memory of her youth. What's on it? I asked. Lin Shi walked over to me, carefully unfolding the paper. The first is to go to the seaside to watch the sunrise. The second is to take photos in a wedding dress. And the third is to wait for someone at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. I turned off the stove and turned to look at her. So, I want to fulfill these wishes. Lin, she looked up at me, her eyes pleading. Aja, you can understand, right? These are Jing's final regrets. I don't want him to leave with regrets. He already left 3 years ago. I reminded her. It's precisely because he's gone that they need to be fulfilled. Lin, she grabbed my hand. You're my fiancé. You can definitely understand how I feel. Looking at her earnest expression, I suddenly found it somewhat absurd. Lin Shi, do you know what you're saying? You're going to wear a wedding dress to take pictures with someone else. It's not someone else. It's Jing, she corrected me. He's dead. That's why there's no threat. Lin, she let go of my hand, her tone becoming a bit urgent. Aja, why are you being so unreasonable? The man is dead. What is there for you to argue with him about? I stared at her for a few seconds and suddenly laughed. You're right. I really shouldn't argue with a dead person. I took off my apron, but I don't want to be a living person's backup plan either. What do you mean? Lin Shi frowned. Lin Shi, let's break up. As the words fell, the air in the kitchen seemed to freeze. Lin Shi's eyes widened as she stared at me, taking a long moment to process. Are you insane? Over this. Over this. I nodded. I don't want a fiancé whose heart is filled with someone else. What's in my heart are memories. Lin, she raised her voice. Aja, do you have to be so petty? I didn't say any more, walking back to the bedroom to start packing my things. Lin, she followed behind me, her tone shifting from anger to grievance. Can you be so heartless? We've been together for 3 years. We've even had the engagement party, and you're breaking up just like that? Yes. I stuffed my clothes into the suitcase. Just that heartless. You'll regret this. Lin, she said through gritted teeth. I zipped up the suitcase and turned to look at her. The one who should have regrets is you. With that, I dragged the suitcase and walked out of the apartment we rented together. Behind me, I heard Lin Shi's screams and the sound of something being thrown against the door. I didn't look back. As I went downstairs, my phone vibrated incessantly. They were all messages from Lin Shi. From questioning to insults, from grievance to threats, I deleted them all without reading a single one completely. At the entrance of the residential complex, the security guard called out to me, Xiao Zhang, going out so late? Yeah, moving. Had a fight with Miss Lin? The guard was a warm-hearted man. It's normal for young people to bicker. Don't be too impulsive. I smiled. It's not impulsive, it's seeing things clearly. The guard wanted to say more, but I had already hailed a taxi. Driver, to the Jinjiang Hotel. The car started, and I leaned back in my seat, watching the street scenes fly by outside the window. I suddenly felt a sense of relief. For 3 years, I finally no longer had to carefully maintain a relationship that was destined to be unequal. My phone rang again, a video call this time. I answered, and my mom's face appeared on the screen. Son, I heard you broke up with Lin Shi. She just called me crying. Say you want to break up over a small matter. Is there someone else? I rubbed my temples. Mom, there's no one else. Then why did you suddenly break up? My mom got anxious, Lin Shi said. Such a good girl, pretty and with a good job. Where are you going to find someone this good? Mom, she wants to wear a wedding dress to take pictures with her white moonlight, first love. I said calmly. Do you think that's appropriate? There were a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. That high school classmate who died. Yes. Another moment of silence. Son, Mom supports you. My mom sighed. This kind of thing is indeed too much. I wouldn't be able to stand it either. After hanging up the phone, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. At least my family was on my side. When I arrived at the hotel to check in, the young lady at the front desk glanced at me. Sir, are you alone? Yes. Then would you like a king-size bed or a standard room? A king-size bed, please. After getting the room card and going upstairs, I threw my suitcase aside and collapsed on the bed. My phone was still vibrating incessantly. This time it was a call from Lynn, she's best friend. I hesitated for a moment, but still answered. Zhangzhe, what do you mean? You're breaking up with Cece just because she wants to fulfill her friend's last wish? Are you even a man? The other party immediately started yelling at me. I waited for her to finish scolding before I slowly said, if your fiancé wanted to fulfill his white moonlight's last wish, which included wearing a suit to take wedding photos with her, would you be able to accept it? The person on the other end of the line was stumped. This is different. How is it different? I interrupted her. Because the person is dead, they can do whatever they want. Are the dead more important than the living? But there are no buts. I hung up the phone directly. A few more calls came from Lynchie's friends, so I simply turned off my phone. Lying on the hotel bed, I stared blankly at the ceiling. It would be a lie to say I wasn't upset. After all, it was a 3-year relationship, and to let it go just like that, who could truly be indifferent? But I knew even more clearly that if I compromised now, there would be even more last wishes waiting for me in the future. Today, it's Lu Jing's last wish. Tomorrow, will it be holding a vigil for the anniversary of Lu Jing's death? The day after tomorrow, we'll be taking care of Lu Jing's parents. I don't want to live in the shadow of a dead person, nor do I want my life to become an appendage to someone else's memories. Closing my eyes, I try to force myself to sleep. I still have to work tomorrow. I can't let this kind of thing affect my work. But not long after I fell asleep, there was a knock on the door. I thought it was a hotel staff member, but when I opened the door, I saw Lynn. She's standing at the entrance. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her makeup was smudged. How did you find me here? I frowned. I checked your credit card records. Lynn, she rushed into the room. Zhangzhe, can we talk? I closed the door and didn't say anything. Lynn, she looked at me and suddenly knelt down. Aja, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. She grabbed my pant leg. I was just confused for a moment. I promise I will never mention Lu Jing again. Looking at her kneeling on the ground, I felt no emotion in my heart. Lin Shi, get up. You forgive me? She looked up with hope in her eyes. No. I squatted down to be at her eye level. I just think you don't have to do this. Then what do you mean? The breakup is not going to change. I stood up. You should go back. I'm tired. Lin Shi stood there stunned, taking a long time to react. Zhangzhe, you will regret this. She stood up. You think you can find someone better after breaking up? Let me tell you, it's impossible. I didn't respond, just opened the door and made a gesture for her to leave. Lin, she gritted her teeth and walked to the door, then suddenly turned around. I'll give you 3 days to think about it. If you still have this attitude after 3 days, then it's really over. No need for 3 days, I said. It's over now. Lin Shi's face turned ashen. She stared at me for a few seconds and finally slammed the door and left. I closed the door again and leaned against it, letting out a long breath. This time, it was really over. The next day at work, I was called into the boss's office as soon as I arrived at the company. Xiao Zhang, I heard you broke up with your fiancée yesterday. The boss pushed up his glasses, looking concerned. My heart sank. What was bound to happen had happened. Lin, she worked for a partner company of ours, and the two companies had a close relationship. She must have already spread the news of our breakup everywhere. Yes, for personal reasons, I answered briefly. The boss sighed. Xiao Zhang, I won't say much. But you know, Miss Lin's project. I understand. I nodded. If the company feels I'm not suitable to continue with this project, I can request a transfer. The boss was taken aback, apparently not expecting me to be so cooperative. It's best that you can think this way. He patted my shoulder. You're young. Try not to take relationships so hard. But Miss Lin really is a good girl. I left the office before he could finish. Back at my desk, the looks from my colleagues were a bit strange. Zhang Zhe, did you really break up with Lin Shi? Xiao Wang, who sat next to me, leaned over. I heard it was because she was going to visit her ex-boyfriend's grave. Not an ex-boyfriend, a high school classmate. I corrected him. And not to visit his grave, but to fulfill his last wish. Wow, that's too outrageous. Xiao Wang clicked his tongue in amazement. But brother, wasn't that a bit impulsive of you? After all, you two were engaged. Not impulsive. I turned on my computer. The sooner, the better. Xiao Wang was about to say more, but was interrupted by Lao Li from across the desk. That's enough, Xiao Wang. Mind your own business. Lao Li nodded at me. Xiao Zhang did the right thing. You have to have boundaries in matters like this. I smiled at Lao Li as a sign of thanks. The morning's work went smoothly until lunchtime, when I ran into Lin Shi's best friend, Zhou Ting, in the cafeteria. Zhang Zhe, Zhou Ting, Wokzoa, Kidding here, Tri. You really broke up? Yes. I continued eating. Do you know what state Cici is in right now? Zhou Ting sat down across from me. She's been crying since last night. Her eyes are all swollen. She took the day off to rest at home today. I put down my chopsticks. So what? So what? Zhou Ting's eyes widened. She's so heartbroken. Don't you feel sorry for her at all? I don't. I looked her straight in the eye. When she decided to fulfill someone else's last wish, did she ever consider my feelings? Zhou Ting was speechless. After a long moment, she said, that last wish was really nothing, just an ordinary commemoration. Does an ordinary commemoration include taking photos in a wedding dress? I interrupted her. Zhou Ting, put yourself in my shoes. If it were your boyfriend who wanted to do that, could you accept it? Zhou Ting fell silent. I went back to eating. She sat for a little while longer and then left. At 3 in the afternoon, I received a call from Lin Shi's mother. Xiao Zhang, I want to talk to you about something. Lin Shi's mother's voice was gentle. Cici has always been very straightforward. Sometimes she speaks without thinking. Don't hold it against her. Auntie, this isn't about holding it against her, I said, putting down my work. This is a matter of principle. What matter of principle? Her mother laughed. Isn't she just trying to fulfill a last wish for a deceased classmate? What's the big deal? I took a deep breath. Auntie, if I said I was going to fulfill my first love's last wish, and it included holding hands, hugging, and kissing, do you think Lin Shi could accept that? There was silence on the other end of the line. That's different. How is it different? I pressed on. Because he's dead, it's okay? Then I could just assume my first love is dead, too. Why must you say such unpleasant things? Her mother was getting angry. Cici just wants to give her friend some closure. Why can't you be more understanding? I can't understand it, I said directly. That's why I chose to break up. You? Her mother was too angry to speak. Fine, you just wait. I'd like to see what kind of person you can find in the future. She hung up the phone. I tossed my phone on the desk and went back to work. After work, I went to the gym. On the treadmill, a girl I didn't know next to me suddenly struck up a conversation. Hey, handsome. How long have you been running? Half an hour, I replied casually. That's amazing. I'm already tired after just 10 minutes, the girl said with a smile. It's my first time seeing you here. Are you a new member? Yes. Then we can work out together sometime. My name is Su Qing. Ich glänzte her. She had delicate features and a great figure. Zhang Zhe. I nodded and kept running. Su Qing seemed very interested in me and kept trying to make conversation. What do you do for work? Tech. Wow, a tech guy. I like tech guys the most. They seem so reliable. I didn't respond. By the way, do you have a girlfriend? This question made me pause. Just broke up. Oh, Su Qing's eyes lit up. That's great. No, I mean, that's a shame. I almost laughed out loud. This girl's intentions were too obvious. What about you? I asked casually. I've been single for a long time, Su Qing said. I just haven't met the right person. It's not that my standards are high. It's that guys these days are too unreliable. I didn't say anything and quickened my pace. Su Qing couldn't keep up and had to give up. After my workout, just as I was walking out of the gym, I saw Lin. She's standing at the entrance. When she saw me, she immediately rushed over. You really came to the gym? Lin, she stared at me. You never used to work out before. The past is the past. Now is now. I walked around her towards the parking lot. Zhang Zhe, can we really not get back together? Lin, she followed behind me. I really know I was wrong. I promise I'll never bring up Lu Jing's matter again. I stopped and turned to look at her. Lin Shi, do you know why I insisted on breaking up? Is it because I wanted to fulfill Lu Jing's dying wish? Not entirely. I shook my head. It's because of your attitude. From beginning to end, you thought I was overreacting, that I was being petty, that I shouldn't hold a grudge against a dead person. Lin, she was stunned. You never felt that you did anything wrong. I continued. You were only apologizing because I was angry, not because you genuinely thought what you did was wrong. Lin, she opened her mouth. So even if we get back together now, there'll be a second and a third Lu Jing in the future. I looked into her eyes. I don't want to waste my life on a woman whose heart will always belong to someone else. After speaking, I turned and left. I could hear Lin, she's crying behind me, but I didn't look back. On the drive back to the hotel, my phone rang. It was my college roommate. Old Zhang, I heard you and Lin, she broke up? Yeah. Well done. My roommate laughed on the other end of the line. I couldn't stand her for a long time. She always acted so high and mighty, as if the whole world owed her something. I laughed. Why didn't you say so before? Duh. You were blinded by love back then. You wouldn't have listened even if I had told you, my roommate said. But it's good that you've broken up now. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Yeah, I said, looking at the night view outside the window. Plenty of fish in the sea. On the third day, the company officially informed me that I was being transferred from my original project team. The new team was in charge of one of the company's overseas businesses. The pressure was greater, but so were the opportunities. I agreed without any hesitation. It was the perfect opportunity to completely cut ties with Lin Shi. At lunch in the company cafeteria, I ran into Su Qing again. Zhang Zhe, she said, walking over with her tray. What a coincidence. You work at this company too. I glanced at the ID badge on her chest. It turned out she was the new HR person at our company. Just started? I asked. Yep. First day today, Su Qing said, sitting down across from me. I didn't expect such a coincidence that we're colleagues. I nodded and continued eating. Su Qing clearly wasn't going to let this opportunity slip by. You're in the tech department, right? I heard everyone in tech is really brilliant. They're all right. You're being modest, Su Qing said with a smile. By the way, want to go to the gym together tonight? I hesitated for a moment, but then agreed. I had nothing else to do anyway, so I might as well get a workout in. At the gym that evening, Su Qing was even more talkative than last time. Zhang Zhe, what was your ex-girlfriend like? The question made me pause. Why do you ask? Just curious, Su Qing said with a wink. For you to break up with her, she must have done something really out of line, right? I thought for a moment, then briefly explained about Lin, she wanting to fulfill the dying wish of her white moonlight, an unforgettable past love. After hearing the story, Su Qing's eyes widened. That's just too much, she said in disbelief. How could she do that? You two were engaged, and she still treated you with such little regard. That's why we broke up, I said, wiping away my sweat. Good riddance. Su Qing gave a thumbs up. A woman like that, if you don't break up with her, what are you keeping her for the new year? I gave a small laugh but said nothing. Su Qing suddenly leaned in closer to me. Zhang Zhe, what do you think of me? The question caught me by surprise. You're very nice, I said politely. Then are you interested in getting to know me better? Su Qing asked boldly. I have a really good impression of you. Why don't we give it a try? I was taken aback. To be honest, Su Qing was indeed great, pretty and cheerful, a completely different type from Lin Shi. But I had just broken up with someone. Isn't it too soon to start a new relationship? I'll think about it, I said. All right, Su Qing smiled. I'll be waiting for you. Back at the hotel, I lay in bed and thought for a long time. Actually, Su Qing's appearance was a bit of a surprise. I hadn't expected someone to show interest in me so soon after a breakup. But I knew even more clearly that I hadn't completely moved on from my last relationship. Even though I was the one who initiated the breakup, a 3-year relationship couldn't be let go of just like that. I needed time. Just then my phone rang. It was a message from Lin Shi. Zhang Zhe, I've already burned the bucket list. I won't try to fulfill Lu Jing's wishes anymore. Can we get back together? Looking at this message, I felt nothing, because I knew very well that she hadn't truly thought it through. She was just compromising temporarily. After we got back together, she would still bring up Lu Jing for all sorts of reasons. Today, it was the bucket list, Tomorrow it might be the anniversary of Lu Jing's death, and the day after might be that Lu Jing's parents need help. This kind of woman, I couldn't afford to be with. I replied with one word. No. Then I blocked her. When it's time to break things off, you have to be decisive and not leave yourself any way out. The next day at work, I found Lin Shi waiting for me downstairs at the company. Her face was pale. She clearly hadn't slept well all night. Zhang Zhe, are you really this heartless? She blocked my way. I've already burned the bucket list. What more do you want? Lin Shi, we're not right for each other, I said calmly. Let yourself go, and let me go too. Not right for each other? Lin Shi sneered. Then you and that Su Qing are right for each other? I frowned. What are you talking about? Stop pretending. Lin Shi took out her phone and showed me a few photos. These are from you two at the gym last night. Still say there's nothing going on. In the photos, Su Qing and I were talking on the treadmills, and it did look quite intimate. So, you had someone follow me? I looked at her. I didn't. Lin Shi defended herself. It was Zhou Ting who happened to be at that gym and saw you. I laughed. Lin Shi, don't you think this is ridiculous? We've already broken up. Who I'm with is my freedom. But it's only been a few days since we broke up. Lin Shi screamed. And you're already so eager to find someone new? The passers-by all looked over. I frowned. Lin Shi, mind the place. I won't. Lin Shi's eyes were red. Zhang Zhe, you're just a scumbag. You didn't break up with me because I wanted to complete the bucket list. You were just looking for an excuse to break up with me, so you could go find that Su Qing. Watching her hysterical state, I suddenly felt she was a stranger. Was this the gentle and elegant Lin Shi I once knew? Think whatever you want. I walked around her and headed into the company. Lin Shi's curses came from behind me, but I didn't look back. In the elevator, I ran into Su Qing. Morning, she greeted me, then whispered, was that woman downstairs your ex-girlfriend? Yeah. She seems pretty crazy. Su Qing marveled. Your taste in the past wasn't very good. I gave a wry smile. But it's not too late now, Su Qing said with a smile. Have you thought about it? I looked at her and suddenly made a decision. How about we give it a try? Su Qing was taken aback for a moment, then she smiled. All right. The elevator doors opened, and we walked out together. Whispers came from behind us. Isn't that Lin Shi's fiancé? Not anymore. I heard they broke up. He found someone new so quickly after breaking up. Men are all like that. I think that Lin Shi brought it upon herself. Who told her to go fulfill her ex-boyfriend's bucket list? I paid no mind to these discussions and walked straight to my desk. A new beginning, a new life. Let the past be the past. In the first week with Su Qing, we worked out and ate together almost every day. She was a very sunny girl, always able to find topics to talk about, completely different from Lin Shi's often gloomy personality. Zhang Zhe, want to go hiking this weekend? Su Qing asked me after work on Friday. Hiking? I was a bit surprised. You like hiking? Yeah, I especially love outdoor sports, Su Qing said with a smile. You're not one of those homebody types, are you? No, I thought for a moment. All right, let's go hiking then. Early Saturday morning, we met at the foot of the mountain. Su Qing was wearing sportswear with her hair in a ponytail, looking full of energy. Let's go. Let's try to reach the summit before noon, she said enthusiastically. While we were climbing the mountain, Su Qing kept chatting with me. Zhang Zhe, did you used to go out with your ex-girlfriend often? Not very often. I thought for a moment she didn't really like outdoor activities. So what did you usually do? She liked watching dramas at home, or just sitting in a coffee shop. Su Qing pouted. That sounds so boring. I smiled and didn't say anything. Actually, it wasn't just that Lin she disliked outdoor activities. What she loved most was scrolling through Lu Jing's social media feed, studying his preferences from when he was alive. Once I saw her staring blankly at a photo of Lu Jing, sitting like that for a whole hour. I should have realized something was wrong back then. Zhang Zhe, what are you thinking about? Su Qing's voice pulled me back to reality. Nothing, let's go. We continued climbing and rested at a viewing platform halfway up. Su Qing took out her phone to take pictures, then suddenly said, Zhang Zhe, let's take a selfie. A selfie? Yeah, as a souvenir. Su Qing had already moved closer, raising her phone. Smile. With a click, the photo was taken. Su Qing looked at the photo and smiled with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad. I'm posting to my feed. I nodded, indifferent. Just then my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a man's voice came from the other end. "Excuse me, is this Mr. Zhang Zhe?" "It is. I am Lu Jing's father." "Lu Jingwo," the man said. "There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Would it be convenient to meet?" I was stunned for a moment. What would Lu Jing's father want with me? What is it about? "It's not something to discuss over the phone. Let's talk in person," Lu Jingwo said. "This afternoon at the Starbucks downtown. Is that okay?" I hesitated for a moment. "All right." After hanging up, Su Qing asked curiously, "Who was that?" "My ex-girlfriend's. A friend's father," I explained. "Oh." Suing seemed soothed. "So you're going to meet him this afternoon?" "Then I'll go with you," Su Qing said. I shook my head. "No need. This is a private matter." Suing potith. Fine. At 3 in the afternoon, I arrived at Starbucks on time. Lu Jingwo was already waiting for me. He looked to be in his 50s, with graying hair and a haggard expression. "Mr. Zhang, sit." He pointed to the seat opposite him. I sat down and asked directly, "What did you want to see me about?" Lu Jingwo sighed. "I heard you and Lin she broke up." I nodded. "Yes. It was because of that bucket list, wasn't it?" Lu Jingwo gave a bitter smile. "After my son died, Lin she could never let him go. I feel helpless about it too." I didn't speak, waiting for him to continue. "Actually, that bucket list is fake," Lu Jingwo said suddenly. I froze. "What?" "My son never wrote any bucket list when he was alive." Lu Jingwo looked at me. "That was forged by Lin she herself." My eyes widened. I never would have expected this answer. How is that possible? "I know my son's handwriting, and the writing on that list isn't his," Lu Jingwo said. "Besides, my son never mentioned any of those things when he was alive." My mind was a mess. If the bucket list was fake, then why would Lin she forge it? Why would Lin she do that? I asked. "Because she can't let go of my son." Lu Jingwo sighed. "My son had a crush on her in high school, but she didn't accept him at the time. After he died in a car accident, she's been racked with guilt, always thinking that if she had said yes to him back then, he wouldn't have died." I fell silent. "So that's how it was." "Mr. Zhang, I came today to tell you that Lin, she's not a bad person. She's just too fixated," Lu Jingwo said. "If you still like her, I hope you can give her another chance." I looked at Lu Jingwo and shook my head. "Mr. Lu, thank you for telling me this," I said, "but it's impossible between Lin, she, and me now." "Why?" "Because regardless of whether that list is real or fake, there will always be a place for your son in her heart," I said. "I don't want to be anyone's substitute." Lu Jingwo fell silent. After a long moment, he sighed. "I understand. To be honest, I also came today hoping to help Lin. She finally let go. She can't go on like this. She'll destroy herself. Then she'll need you and your wife to guide her," I said. "I can't help her." Lu Jingwo nodded. "I know. Thank you for agreeing to meet me." Leaving Starbucks, I drove home. On the way, I kept thinking about it. So the bucket list was fake. Lin, she had forged a bucket list to commemorate Lu Jing. How deep must that obsession be? I was suddenly very glad that I had made the decisive move to break up. If I had continued to be entangled with her, I would have been dragged down by her obsession sooner or later. That evening, Su Qing called me. "How was the meeting today?" "It was okay." I briefly explained the situation. After listening, Su Qing was silent for a moment. "Zhang Zhe, you won't regret this, will you?" "Regret what?" "Regret breaking up with Lin Shi." Su Qing's voice held a hint of worry. After all, she only did it because she liked that Lu Jing so much, which shows she's very devoted. I laughed. "Devoted? I don't need that kind of devotion." "Really? Really?" I said. "Su Qing, now that we're together, I won't think about the past anymore. Don't you worry." Su Qing sighed in relief. "That's good." After hanging up, I lay on my bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. Lin Shi's face kept appearing in my mind, but I forced myself to push it away. Let the past be the past. I was going to start a new life. A month later, Lin Shi found me again. This time it was downstairs from my office. She directly blocked my car. I had no choice but to stop. "Lin Shi, what on earth are you doing?" I rolled down the window. Lin Shi looked pale, her eyes red and swollen. She had clearly been crying again. "Zhang Zhe, let's talk." "There's nothing to talk about." "There is." Lin Shi took a deep breath. "I know Uncle Lu came to see you. He told me." I didn't say anything. "Zhang Zhe, I admit I forged the bucket list." Lin Shi looked at me. But I really didn't mean to deceive you. I just wanted to give Lu Jing some closure. So you used lies to achieve your goal? I looked at her. Lin Shi, you still don't understand what the problem is. I do understand. Lin Shi suddenly became agitated. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Zhangzhe, can you forgive me just this once? I shook my head. I can't. Why? Tears streamed down Lin Shi's face. Is it because I can't forget Lu Jing? But he's already dead. He won't be a threat to our relationship. It's precisely because he's dead that I can't accept it, I said. A living person can never compete with the memory of the dead. Lin Shi, there will always be a place for him in your heart, and I don't want to live in his shadow for the rest of my life. Lin Shi was stunned. Besides, I looked at her. Do you really love me? Or are you just used to my company? This question left Lin Shi completely speechless. After a long while, she gave a bitter smile. You're right. I probably don't love you that much. So let go, I said. It's better for both of us. Lin Shi was silent for a long time before finally nodding. I understand. She took a few steps back. Zhangzhe, I wish you happiness. With that, she turned and walked away. Watching her retreating figure, I felt nothing. What was meant to end had to end. Driving away from the office, I called Su Qing. Are you free tonight? Let's have dinner together. I am. Su Qing's voice was cheerful. What do you want to eat? Whatever you want. Then I want hot pot. Okay. That evening, Su Qing and I met at the hot pot restaurant. She was wearing makeup today and looked exceptionally beautiful. Well, do I look good to you today? She twirled around. You always look good, I said with a smile. Su Qing sat down happily and started ordering. Zhangzhe, let me tell you, I ran into the funniest thing today. She chattered on about office gossip, and I listened quietly. This felt good. Relaxed, natural, no pressure. It was something I never had when I was with Lin Shi. By the way, Su Qing said suddenly, did your ex-girlfriend come looking for you again today? Yeah, but it should be the last time, I said. Really? Su Qing's eyes lit up. She's finally given up? I think so. That's great. Su Qing raised her glass. Come on, let's celebrate you being completely free from the past. I clinked glasses with her, feeling a great sense of relief. After finishing the hot pot, I took Su Qing home. Downstairs at her apartment, she suddenly turned to look at me. Zhangzhe, do you want to come up for a bit? I was taken aback. Su Qing's face turned a little red. That's not what I meant. I just wanted to ask you to come up and sit for a while. I smiled. All right. Su Qing's home wasn't large, but it was warmly decorated. Make yourself at home. She poured me a glass of water. I'm going to change. I sat on the sofa and looked around. The walls were covered with photos, all of them of Su Qing with her friends. In every picture, she had a brilliant smile. This was why I liked her. She lived in the present, not dwelling on the past. Zhangzhe. Su Qing came out in a set of casual home clothes. Are you thirsty? Can I get you some juice? No, thanks. I'm not thirsty. Su Qing sat down next to me and said suddenly, Zhangzhe, do you think we're a good match? I looked at her. Why the sudden question? It's just, I always feel like you haven't completely gotten over your ex-girlfriend. Su Qing lowered her head. I'm afraid I'm just a rebound for you. I was silent for a moment. It was true. Although I said I had moved on, Lin Shi still popped in my head from time to time. Su Qing, I said seriously, I can't promise that I've completely let go of the past right now, but I can promise that I will try my best to let it go completely. Su Qing looked up at me. Really? Really? I took her hand. Give me some time, okay? Suin smiled. Okay. She suddenly leaned over and gave me a kiss on the cheek. That's a reward. I was taken aback for a moment, and then I smiled too. Perhaps I really could start a new life. 2 months later, the company organized a team-building trip to the seaside. This reminded me of that bucket list of Lin Shi's. The first item was to watch the sunrise by the sea. But thinking about it now, I felt no ripples in my heart. Zhangzhe, what are you spacing out for? Su Qing patted my shoulder. It's time to get on the bus. I came back to my senses and followed her onto the bus. On the bus, our colleagues were all excited, discussing what they would do when they got to the seaside. I'm going surfing. I want to eat seafood. I want to watch the sunrise. Su Qing leaned on my shoulder and whispered, Zhangzhe, let's wake up early tomorrow to watch the sunrise. Okay. By the time we arrived at the seaside, It was already evening. The company had arranged for us to stay at a seaside resort, which had a great environment. In the evening, everyone gathered for a seafood barbecue, and the atmosphere was lively. Zhangzhe, I heard you have a new girlfriend? A colleague came over with a wine glass. It's that Su Qing from HR, right? She's very pretty. Thanks, I said with a smile. How does she compare to your ex-girlfriend? The colleague asked gossipingly. Su Qing, who was beside me, gave him a nudge. Don't talk nonsense. I was just asking, the colleague said with a laugh and walked away. Su Qing looked at me. You don't mind, do you? I don't. I shook my head. She's indeed better than her. Suing blushed. Such a smooth talker. Back in the room that night, I stood on the balcony looking at the sea. The moonlight scattered on the surface of the water, shimmering. My phone suddenly buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. Zhangzhe, it's me. Sorry to bother you. I just wanted to tell you that I've decided to go abroad for my master's degree and probably won't be back for a long time. Thank you for how good you were to me, and I wish you and Su Qing happiness. Lin Shi. Reading the message, I felt a sudden mix of emotions. Although we were over, I was still happy for her, seeing that she had finally decided to let go of the past. I didn't reply. I just deleted the message. Let the past be the past. The next morning at 5, the alarm clock rang on time. Su Qing and I got dressed and walked to the beach. The sky was still dark, but a lot of people had already gathered by the sea, all waiting for the sunrise. Su Qing held my hand and said excitedly, "This is my first time watching a sunrise over the sea." Is that so? I said with a smile. Then you'd better watch carefully today. Gradually, a sliver of white appeared on the horizon. Then came orange-red, followed by golden-yellow. The sun slowly rose from the sea level, its rays magnificent. Wow, it's so beautiful, Suyin exclaimed. I looked at her profile and suddenly felt that this was the life I wanted. Not living in the shadows of the past, but enjoying every moment of the present. Zhangzhe. Su Qing turned to look at me. What are you looking at? You. Suyin blushed. The sun is over there. I know, I said with a smile, but you're more beautiful than the sun. Suyin gab me a placeholder. So cheesy. But her smile betrayed her true feelings. After watching the sunrise, we walked along the beach. Zhangzhe, Su Qing said suddenly, will you always be this good to me? I will, I said seriously, as long as you're willing to be with me. Suyin smiled. Then you have to keep your word. Definitely. We held hands and continued walking forward, the rising sun behind us, illuminating the path ahead. Suddenly, I saw a familiar figure ahead. It was Lin Shi. She was also at the beach, staring blankly at the sea. I froze for a moment, not expecting to run into her here. Su Qing saw her too. She squeezed my hand. Should we go over and say hello? I shook my head. No, let's let her have some peace. We walked around Lin Shi and continued on our way. After walking a short distance, I glanced back. Lin Shi was still standing there, her figure looking very lonely from behind. But that was none of my business anymore. I turned my head back and looked at Su Qing beside me. Let's go back to breakfast. Okay. We walked towards the hotel, behind us the gradually rising sun, and a lonely figure. But that was all in the past. Now I just want to cherish the person in front of me. After the team-building trip ended, life returned to its peaceful routine. My relationship with Su Qing got better and better, and she had already moved into my apartment. Zhangzhe, what's for dinner tonight? Su Qing asked, poking her head out of the kitchen. Anything. I'll eat whatever you make, I said, working in the living room. Then I'll make scrambled eggs with tomatoes. It's simple. I smiled. Okay. This kind of simple, everyday life was something I never had when I was with Lin Shi. Lin Shi didn't like to cook or do housework. She spent most of her time on her phone or watching dramas. But Su Qing was different. She was diligent and very good at taking care of people. Zhangzhe, Su Qing said, coming out with a dish. I have something to tell you. What is it? My mom wants to meet you, Su Qing said, a little embarrassed. Are you free this weekend? Meeting the parents? This was moving a bit fast. Seeing my hesitation, Su Qing quickly added, if it's not convenient, just forget it. I'll tell my mom you're busy with work. It's not that. I shook my head. I'll go. Really? Su Qing's eyes lit up. Yeah, I said. We'll have to meet them sooner or later anyway. Suyin khag me hapidi. That's great. I knew you were the best. On the weekend, I went with Su Qing to her home. Su Qing's parents were very welcoming and kept asking about my work situation and family background. Which company do you work for? Xiao Zhang. Su Qing's mother asked. XX Technology. Oh, that's a good company, her mom nodded. What's your position? Technical development. Tech is good, stable, her mom said with a smile. Who else is in your family? Xiao Zhang. My parents are in my hometown, and I have a younger brother. How old is your brother? He just started college. Su Qing's mother nodded in satisfaction. So not too much of a family burden. That's very good. During lunch, Su Qing's father asked me, Xiao Zhang, how long have you and Su Qing been together? 3 months. When are you planning to get married? Her father asked directly. The question caught me off guard. Su Qing quickly interjected, Dad, why are you asking that? We've only been together for 3 months. 3 months isn't a short time, her dad said. Your mother and I got married 3 months after we met. That was your generation, Su Qing muttered. I thought for a moment and said, if Su Qing is willing, I'm ready anytime. Su Qing was stunned, but her parents both smiled. Good lad, you've got guts, her dad said, patting my shoulder. After we left her house, Su Qing kept staring at me. Were you serious just now? About what? About getting married. Of course I was, I said. I wouldn't joke about something like that. Suin smiled. Then you just wait? I might say yes very soon. I smiled too. I'll be waiting. When I got home, I received a call from my mom back in my hometown. Son, I hear you have a new girlfriend? Yeah. When are you bringing her home for us to see? In a while, I said, when she has the time. All right, you handle it then, my mom said, then paused. By the way, Lin Shi's mother called me today. I frowned. What did she say? She said Lin Shi's going abroad to study and wanted me to let you know. My mom sighed. That girl was quite pitiful, really. So young to have. Mom, I cut her off. Let's not talk about the past. All right, I won't, my mom said. As long as you're happy now, that's all that matters. After hanging up, Su Qing looked at me. What did your mom say? Nothing much, just asking how I was doing. Does she know we're together? Yeah. So what does she think? Su Qing asked, a little nervous. Very supportive, I said with a smile. She told me to bring you home to meet her as soon as possible. Su Qing breathed a sigh of relief. That's good then. That evening, Su Qing and I sat on the balcony, watching the stars. Zhangzhe, Su Qing said suddenly, do you really not regret breaking up with Lin Shi? She had asked this question many times before. I don't, I said. I'm very happy with you. Really? Really? I held her hand. Su Qing, thank you for coming into my life. Su Qing smiled. That's what I should be saying. We looked at each other and smiled, and the stars and night sky seemed to be blessing us. The past was past, and the future was long. But I knew that as long as Su Qing was with me, I would never be lonely. 6 months later, I proposed to Su Qing. That night, I filled the gym where we first met with roses. When Su Qing pushed the door open, she froze. Zhangzhe. I got down on one knee and took out the ring. Su Qing, will you marry me? Tears streamed down Su Qing's face as she nodded vigorously. Yes. I put the ring on her finger, and applause erupted around us. It turned out my colleagues had been hiding and watching. Congratulations. Way to go, groom. Everyone started cheering and teasing. I held Su Qing in my arms, my heart filled with happiness. This was the life I wanted, not living in the shadows of the past, but bravely walking towards the future. The engagement party was set for a month later. That day, all our friends and family came. My parents made a special trip from our hometown and were very pleased after meeting Su Qing. This girl is good. Much better than that Lin Shi, my mom whispered to me. I smiled, as long as you like her. Halfway through the party, I suddenly saw a familiar figure. It was Lin Shi. She was standing at the entrance of the banquet hall, not coming in, just watching from a distance. I froze for a moment, and Su Qing saw her too. Do you want to go over? She asked me. I shook my head. No need. Lin Shi watched for a little while, then turned and left. I knew she had come to say her final goodbye. From now on, we truly had nothing to do with each other anymore. Zhangzhe. Su Qing squeezed my hand. Let's go toast the guests. Okay. We walked towards the tables with our glasses, our faces beaming. This was the life I wanted. Not entangled in memories of the past, but enjoying every moment of the present. Back home that night, Su Qing suddenly said, Zhangzhe, I have to tell you something. What is it? Actually, Lin, she sent me a message before she came. Su Qing looked a little embarrassed. She said she was going abroad and wanted to see you one last time. I was taken aback. And you agreed? So, Inadith. I felt that since she was leaving, it was okay to let her have one look. To give her some closure. I hugged Su Qing. Thank you. For what? Suin smiled. I just don't want you to have any regrets in the future. I won't have any regrets, I said seriously. Because I chose you. Su Qing's eyes reddened. Zhangzhe, I love you. I love you too. We held each other tightly. Outside was the bustling city nightscape, while we, in our own little world, felt each other's warmth. This must be happiness. It doesn't need to be dramatic, just simple and peaceful. It doesn't need memories of the past, only the companionship of the present. The wedding was set for the spring, 3 months later. Su Qing and I were busy with all sorts of wedding preparations, taking wedding photos, choosing the venue, finalizing the menu. Zhangzhe, what do you think of this wedding dress? Su Qing, wearing a white gown, twirled in front of me. It's beautiful, I said sincerely. This one it is then, Su Qing said with a smile. Have you picked out your suit? I have. Then all we have to do is wait to get married, Su Qing said happily. Just then my phone chimed. It was a text message from an unknown number. Zhangzhe, congratulations on your marriage. I've settled down abroad now, and everything is going well. Thank you for the time we shared, and I wish you and Su Qing a lifetime of happiness together. I won't bother you again. This is the last message I'll ever send you. Goodbye. Lin Shi. Reading the message, I suddenly felt a wave of emotion. The person I once thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. We ended up drifting apart. But I guess that's just life. Not every relationship is meant to last. What's important is meeting the right person at the right time. I deleted the message and turned to look at Su Qing. She was discussing the style of the veil with the shop assistant, her smile radiant. This is my future, not living in the memories of the past, but creating new ones with her. Su Qing, I said, walking over. I love you. Su Qing paused for a moment, then smiled. Why the sudden declaration? I just want to say it. I hugged her. Thank you for wanting to marry me. Su Qing hugged me back. You silly goose. I should be the one thanking you. We held each other tightly, and everyone around us was smiling. This must be what happiness looks like. On the day of the wedding, the weather was perfect, bright, and sunny. The church was filled with friends and family, smiles on every face. I stood at the altar, watching Su Qing slowly walk towards me in her white wedding dress. Her father held her hand, his expression a mixture of pride and reluctance to let go. Take good care of my daughter, Father Su said as he placed her hand in mine. I will, I promised solemnly. The priest began the ceremony. Mr. Zhangzhe, are you willing to take Ms. Su Qing as your wife, to never leave her, whether in poverty or in wealth, in sickness or in health? I am. Ms. Su Qing, are you willing to take Mr. Zhangzhe as your husband, to never leave him, whether in poverty or in wealth, in sickness or in health? I am. Su Qing's voice was thick with tears. Then, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Groom, you may kiss the bride. I lifted Su Qing's veil and looked at her tear-streaked face. Don't cry, I whispered. I'm just so happy, Su Qing said with a smile. I leaned in and kissed her, and the guests erupted in thunderous applause and cheers. At that moment, I knew I had made the best choice of my life. At the wedding reception, everyone came over to toast and congratulate us. Zhangzhe, congratulations, an old classmate said, raising his glass. You finally tied the knot. Thanks. I smiled and clinked glasses with him. By the way, my classmate lowered his voice. I heard Lin, she's abroad now, and that she's getting married too. I was taken aback for a second. Is that so? Yeah, to a returee. Heard he's a good catch, my classmate said. Looks like everyone has found their place. I nodded and didn't say anything more. Everyone has their own path to walk. It's enough to wish them well. That night, Su Qing and I returned to our new home. We're finally married, Su Qing said, lying on the bed. It feels like a dream. Yeah, I said, lying down beside her. But it's a good dream. Su Qing turned to look at me. Zhangzhe, do you have any regrets? Regret what? Marrying me. I laughed. Why do you always ask questions like that? I just want to be sure, Su Qing said playfully. No regrets, I said seriously. Marrying you is the one thing I regret the least in my life. Su Qing smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. Zhang Zhe, we'll be happy forever, right? We will, I said, taking her hand. We definitely will. Outside the window was a brilliant starry sky. Inside was our own little world. The past is in the past, and the future is long. But as long as we have each other, that's all that matters. I closed my eyes, my heart filled with peace. This was the life I wanted, not living in someone else's shadow, but creating our own story with the person I love. Married life was even happier than I had imagined. Su Qing quit her corporate job and opened a small coffee shop, and business was pretty good. I still worked at my company, but I would go to her coffee shop to help out after work. Zhang Zhe, could you take this coffee? Su Qing called out, busy behind the counter. Sure. I took the coffee and delivered it to the customer's table. Thank you. The customer was a young woman who looked somewhat familiar. I took a closer look and suddenly recognized her. She was Lin Shi's roommate from university. What was her name again? Right, Zhou Ting. Su Ting. I asked tentatively. Zhou Ting looked up at me, stunned for a moment. Zhang Zhe, it's me. I nodded. Zhou Ting looked me over and smiled. I didn't expect to run into you here. Is this your shop? My wife opened it, I said. Oh, Su Qing, Zhou Ting nodded, I know. Lin Shi told me. The atmosphere became a little awkward at the mention of Lin Shi. How is she now? I asked anyway. She's doing well, Zhou Ting said. After finishing her graduate studies abroad, she's now working at a foreign company. I heard she has a boyfriend and they're getting married soon. I nodded. That's good. Actually, Zhou Ting hesitated for a moment. Lin Shi has always regretted what happened back then. She said if she could do it all over again, she definitely wouldn't have done that. I was silent for a while. What's past is past. There's no need to bring it up again. I know, Zhou Ting smiled. I'm just saying it for her. But seeing you so happy now, I'm happy for you too. Thank you. Zhou Ting finished her coffee and left. Su Qing walked over. Who was that? A friend of Lin Shi's, I said briefly. Su Qing was silent for a moment. Is she doing okay? She's doing well. Getting married soon. That's good, Su Qing smiled. As long as everyone is happy. I hugged her. You're so good. Of course, Su Qing said proudly. Would you have married me if I wasn't? I smiled. Yes. Marrying her was the most correct decision I've ever made in my life. When we got home that night, Su Qing suddenly said, Zhang Zhe, I have some good news to tell you. What good news? Su Qing took out a lab report. I'm pregnant. I was stunned. I took the lab report and looked at it carefully. It clearly said, early pregnancy. Really? I was in disbelief. Of course, it's real, Su Qing said with a smile. You're going to be a father. I excitedly picked her up and spun her around. This is great. Stop spinning, stop spinning. I'm dizzy, Su Qing said, laughing and patting me. I quickly put her down, and my cautiousness made her laugh nonstop. Do you have to be so nervous? Of course, I said seriously. You're a pregnant woman now. I have to take good care of you. Suin smiled. Sidi. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my heart filled with anticipation for the future. What would our child be like? Would they be more like me or her? No matter who they resembled, I would love them with all my heart. My phone suddenly rang. It was my mom. Son, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? Lin Shi's mother called me again today, my mom said. She said Lin Shi is back in the country and wants to see you. I frowned. See me for what? She didn't say, but I don't think you should go, my mom said. You have a new family now. There's no need to get entangled with the past. I know, I said. Tell her mom that I won't go. Okay, I understand. After hanging up, Su Qing looked at me. Lin Shi is back. Yeah, I nodded. But I'm not going to see her. Why not? Su Qing asked. What if she has something really important? No matter how important it is, it has nothing to do with me anymore, I said. Su Qing, you are my wife, and you're about to be a mother. It's impossible for me to have anything to do with her again. Su Qing smiled. I knew you'd say that. Then why were you testing me? I just wanted to hear you say it yourself, Su Qing said coquettishly. I hugged her, silly. The next day, I was in a meeting at work when I suddenly got a call from the front desk. Mr. Zhang, there's a Miss Lin downstairs looking for you. I frowned. Tell her I'm in a meeting and don't have time. She said she'll wait for you, that she'll wait as long as it takes. I hung up the phone annoyed. What on earth was she trying to do? After the meeting, I went downstairs and, sure enough, saw she standing in the lobby. She had lost a lot of weight, was wearing simple clothes, and no makeup. She looked very haggard. Zhangzhe. Her eyes turned red the moment she saw me. If you have something to say it quickly, I said coldly. I want to apologize to you, she said. I was wrong back then. I shouldn't have done that. It's good that you know you were wrong. I turned to leave. Wait, she grabbed me. Zhangzhe, I also want to tell you that during my time abroad, I finally got over Lu Jing. I only now understand that you were the one who was truly good to me. I shook off her hand. Shi, wake up. It's impossible for us anymore. Why? She said, crying. I've really changed now. I'll never mention Lu Jing again. Zhangzhe, can we start over? No. I looked at her. Shi, I'm already married and my wife is pregnant. So you should give up on that idea. Shi froze, tears streaming down her face. You're married? Yes, I said. So don't come looking for me again in the future. It's better for both of us. After speaking, I turned and left. I could hear Shi's sobs behind me, but I didn't look back. Let the past be the past. I now have a new family and new responsibilities. When I got home, Su Qing was making dinner. You're back, she said with a smile. Yes. I walked over and hugged her. I love you. Su Qing was taken aback for a moment, then smiled. Why are you saying that all of a sudden? I just wanted to say it. I whispered in her ear. Thank you for appearing in my life. Su Qing turned around, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed me. Silly. I should be the one thanking you. Outside the window was the warm, setting sun. Inside was our little world. This is happiness. It doesn't need to be earth-shattering, just simple and peaceful. It doesn't need memories of the past, just the companionship of the present. 9 months later, our daughter was born. She had Su Qing's eyes and my nose. Zhangzhe, look, she's smiling, Su Qing said, holding the baby with a face full of happiness. I looked at the mother and daughter, my heart filled with emotion. This is my home, my wife, my daughter, my future.